Those words echoed in Carmen's mind as she walked through the crowded city streets, her heart heavy with the strange mix of anger and sadness. The conversation had been heated, leaving her with a knot of frustration in her chest. She couldn't shake the feeling that something about the world was shifting, but in all the wrong ways. It wasn't just the rhetoric about identity. It was about something deeper, about belonging, about history, about the weight of the past on the present. Carmen had always prided herself on knowing who she was, a Black woman, strong and resilient, navigating a world that often made her feel invisible. She had built her life with care, surrounded herself with people who understood the fight, the struggle of existing in a skin that carried the scars of generations. And then there was her friend, Ava. Ava was white, beautiful in that effortless way that white women often were, blonde hair cascading in waves, her skin a flawless canvas of privilege. They had been friends for years, ever since college, when they bonded over late-night study sessions and shared dreams. But lately, something had changed between them. Ava had begun talking about identity in ways that made Carmen uneasy. "I feel like I've always been Black," Ava had said one evening, her voice soft but determined, as if she were trying to convince herself more than Carmen. "I've always connected more with Black culture. I mean, look at my hair. I got a perm because I just feel more myself with curls. And the music, the fashion, it's like, I just get it, you know." Carmen had stared at her in disbelief, unsure how to even respond. Ava continued, seemingly unaware of the storm brewing inside Carmen. "I think it's part of who I am, like maybe I was Black in a past life or something. I know it's weird, but my therapist says that sometimes identity is fluid. It's not always tied to race or even biology. It's how you feel." Carmen had finally found her voice then. "You think a perm makes you Black? Do you know how ridiculous that sounds?" Her voice was low, but the edge of anger was unmistakable. Being Black isn't a fashion statement or a hairstyle. It's not something you can just feel. It's a history, a reality that you don't get to opt into because it's trendy or because you think it makes you more interesting. Ava had looked hurt, confused. "I didn't mean it like that, Carmen. I feel like I connect more with that part of myself. It's not about being trendy. It's about being true to who I am." Carmen had walked out then, unable to bear another word. And now, as she moved through the city, the weight of that conversation bore down on her. How can Ava, someone who claimed to love and understand her, be so blind to the reality of what it meant to be Black? To live in a world where her skin determined so much of her life, from the way people looked at her to the opportunities she had or didn't have. As Carmen navigated the maze of streets, her phone buzzed in her pocket. It was a text from James, her boyfriend. He had a way of grounding her, of making everything feel less overwhelming. "K babe, everything okay? I feel like something's been off with you lately, asterisk." Carmen sighed and typed back a quick response. "Just thinking. I'll tell you about it later, asterisk." James was understanding, but even he wouldn't fully get it. He was a Black man, yes, but he had grown up in a wealthier neighborhood, had gone to private schools, and didn't carry the same weight of the past that Carmen did. He'd never had to navigate the world with the same constant awareness of how her Blackness made her visible in all the wrong ways. As she reached the park, Carmen sat down on a bench, her thoughts still racing. She loved Ava. She was one of her closest friends. But this felt like a betrayal. Not in the overt, malicious way, but in the subtle, insidious way that made it all the more hurtful. Ava's words, her belief that she could simply feel Black, struck at the heart of everything Carmen had fought to define for herself. Carmen's thoughts were interrupted by a familiar voice. "Carmen?" She looked up to see Ava standing a few feet away, her expression tentative, like she wasn't sure if she was welcome. Carmen felt her stomach tighten, but she nodded for Ava to sit down. "I'm sorry," Ava said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't mean to upset you. I've been thinking about what you said, and I just want to understand." Carmen took a deep breath. "It's not something you can just understand by thinking about it, Ava. Being Black isn't something you can identify into or out of. You can't just decide that because you like certain things. That makes you part of this. It's not a club, it's not a trend. It's my life. It's generations of oppression, of resilience, of survival. Ava nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. I know, and I'm sorry. I was wrong to make it seem like something so casual. I guess I just wanted to feel connected to something, to belong in a way that I don't. Carmen felt the pang of sympathy. She understood the desire to belong, to feel like you were part of something bigger than yourself. But Ava's desire had crossed a line. You can appreciate Black culture, Ava. You can be an ally. But that's different from claiming an identity that isn't yours. It's offensive because it erases the struggles we've gone through. You can't wear Blackness like a costume. Ava nodded again, wiping her eyes. I get it now. Or at least, I'm trying to. I don't want to hurt you, Carmen. You're my best friend. Carmen sighed, her anger softening but not disappearing. I know you didn't mean to hurt me, but this is bigger than just us. It's about understanding the weight of identity, of history. It's not something you can just choose because it feels right in the moment. Ava looked down at her hands, silent for a long time. Then she spoke, her voice trembling. I'll do better. I don't want to lose our friendship over this. I'll listen more. I'll try to understand, even if I never fully can. Carmen looked at her, her heart softening. She could see that Ava was trying, even if she had a long way to go. I'm not saying we can't still be friends, but you need to understand that this isn't just about identity. It's about respect. Ava nodded, and for the first time in a while, Carmen felt a sense of peace. Their friendship wasn't perfect, and there would still be difficult conversations ahead. But in that moment, under the soft glow of the setting sun, they had taken a step toward understanding. It wasn't a resolution, but it was enough. And sometimes, Carmen thought, that's all you can ask for.